Well, hello, partners. Welcome to Chapter 15, Lesson 3. And what we're going to be taking a look at here today is how President Kennedy is able to change American society even though he has been killed in Dallas in 1963. And what we're going to be seeing here is that there is going to be a long-term commitment to giving back to the community that President Kennedy starts in his inaugural address, but that President Johnson, once Vice President Johnson, is going to continue once he becomes president in 1963 throughout his term into 1968. And all of these things are going to be part of what we're going to see here in terms of, can President Johnson fix society's problems? And the answer there is yes. As a matter of fact, that can, when you can build consensus. So we're going to wonder how we're going to do that. How are we going to build consensus? And the answer there is going to be the answer there is going to be because President Johnson's leadership style is amazingly intimidating and overpowering. And I think a great way to see this is just this wonderful image of President Johnson that we have right up here, right? I mean, look at this guy, President Johnson, here on the left. He's just, asking a question, right? I'm just asking a question. I just also happen to be leaning into your face and totally overpowering you and freaking pushing you back to you're sitting on a table. But I'm just asking a question. That's all I'm doing. So he uses this kind of empowering, overpowering, intimidating personality to try and get people to support his ideas. In particular, when Johnson takes over in 1963, he's going to wait until that spring when he gives a State of the Union address, and he's going to declare a war on poverty. And he's going to say that we cannot, as a nation that has all of this wealth, tolerate poverty. How can we tolerate poverty for people when we have all of this wealth? And Johnson actually has a history of this himself. He grew up in Texas, and he grew up in a dirt floor house. I mean, he grew up dirt poor, literally dirt poor. So when he goes to places in the South, places like here in Texas, and he meets with these people, and he goes across our country, he knows, more than many other presidents in the modern era have known, what real poverty is like. What it does to your mind, what it does to your thoughts, what it does to your ability to succeed. And he says, you know what we need, Congress? We need the Economic Opportunity Act. And that law is going to attack all kinds of inadequate issues like public services. But more importantly, it's going to try and attack the fundamental causes behind poverty itself: unemployment and illiteracy. Right, now think about this, right? We go back to the New Deal, right? The New Deal took a look at the symptoms of poverty: homelessness, no money, no job, can't buy things. Puts people to work, gives them some cash in their pockets, they get a house, they can buy some stuff. Johnson's War on Poverty, his Economic Opportunity Act, says what's the actual root cause of poverty? Illiteracy? Unemployment? Those are the things we have to deal. So that act is passed by Congress. He's able to build consensus. It's passed by Congress. It creates the Office of Economic Opportunity, which is a major part of his war on poverty, and it coordinates all of the services and programs offered by the government to fight poverty. Let me give you an example. There's two services that I can use as examples that fall underneath the Office of Economic Opportunity. One of them is still around. Well, actually, both of these are still around today. One of them is the Job Corps. What it does is it provides programs for people that are young, 16 to 24, I believe is the actual age range that it's in, to help those unemployed young people acquire job skills. Like, so you can see here, these young people who are part of the Job Corps had their job skill training in culinary arts. And there are all kinds of job skills trainings that you can obtain through the Job Corps as an effort to help you get a job, right? One of the root causes of poverty, unemployment. Let's deal with that. So the Office of Economic Opportunity helps coordinate Job Corps. people get jobs. What about people in the communities themselves, right? Well, the Office of Economic Opportunity is also going to work with another program that is still around today called VISTA, the Volunteers in Service to America. It's actually called AmeriCorps Vista now, but it still is in existence, and VISTA today takes young people, just like it did back in the 1960s, and it puts them to work in poorer neighborhoods, whether in cities or in the countryside, in rural neighborhoods, it doesn't matter. You're going to work in these poorer neighborhoods, and you're going to be doing all kinds of things to help people. Like today, if you become an AmeriCorps volunteer for a couple of years, 27 kids will benefit from your tutoring. 890 hours of service you're going to be helping out with. 31 volunteers you'll recruit in your communities to have those people assist you with almost $10,000 raised for the communities that you worked in. And all of that is going to be done for just $10,000 of tax dollars for one AmeriCorps member. So the return on your investment is huge when we get these volunteers. These things will all continue, and many of them will continue on to the present day. And when America sees his efforts to kind of really improve society, Johnson is going to win re-election in 1964 when he runs for president as a Democrat against a Republican candidate, Barry Goldwater. So now the question is going to be, well, Johnson gets in for his own 4-year term, 64 to 68. What's he going to do next now that he's already started this war on poverty?